From the banks of the mighty Mississippi to the shores of Lake Erie, from the raging Yellowstone River to the bayous of Louisiana, let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Dean and Dodie, Christian and Kumar. Hello.
What's up, Russ?
Welcome back. Episode 61.
Yeah.
Almost as many episodes as Joel is old.
Not that much.
Halfway to Mackie.
Yeah. Kumar, you know what you forgot this week, Kumar?
What's that?
The show notes.
Oh, they're in the office. Hold on. I got them. Keep going.
So, how's your week been going, everyone? Christian, what's it like down there in Virginia right now?
It's a really hot week down here. It's getting that direction anyways. It was kind of random thunderstorms and all as far as the weather goes. It's pretty good. Not a lot of trailers on the yard. Guys are out working and doing their thing. So life's pretty good.
It hasn't really been that hot here until probably yesterday. Right, Ian? It's been like 49 at night and 69, 70 last week. And today it's like 97 degrees. Feels like Tarpon Springs, Florida, I think. If I had to imagine what it feels like at Mike's house.
Yeah, no, I think I don't think you got the humidity up there that we have.
Oh, today we do.
It's pretty bad today.
Yeah. I was saying to Ian, I think yesterday we were walking, and I was like, it feels like a Georgia morning. Like,
Ian, I think Ian's mic's off.
no, he's just not talking. Just getting his mic's off.
Yeah, he was talking. If I had to imagine what it's like at your house, Mike, today would be the day, because it rarely gets 97 degrees in Northeast Ohio. Maybe a few days a year, but today is the day, and it is humid.
It's hot everywhere, man.
Yeah,
it's definitely summer here.
I got up this morning. It was 39 degrees out.
Where at?
Oh man, it was just south of Butte, Montana.
Okay.
I wonder. Yeah, snow there.
Yeah, I'm scared to ask my wife what the temperature is in San Antonio.
110. It was 110 the other day, I think, when I looked.
175 Celsius.
Yeah.
Isn't that where Deshaun Watson is from? No, never mind. We'll talk about that. We'll talk
Here
about
we
that
go.
later. Joel's
from
not up yet.
Clemson, South Carolina.
Christian saw my Browns throwback elf on my shirt from the 40s Browns, and he couldn't help himself.
They thought about the happy end zone.
Here we go again. So, joining us this week on the show, as always, Christian Sneed from Roanoke, Virginia. Mike Doty, the original Florida man from Tarpon Springs, Florida. You see him, as always, Wide World of Sports, Joel Howell. And the jokester, Rodney Dangerfield.
Mark.
No respect.
Ian Dunlap on the news, and the famous Kumar.
Hello.
And our drivers, Ray, Jim Mackey, Nate. Kevin couldn't be here. He had some family things he had to take care of. I talked to him earlier. He was going to try, but he's not going to make it. So, Nate, where are you at?
I'm in Belton, Texas.
Where's that? I know I've heard of it.
North of San Antonio.
Oh,
And to
okay.
answer Ray's question, it's about 102 degrees right now.
Yeah.
Ain't too bad.
There you go. You got boots on the ground, Ray.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
melting.
Thanks.
They're melting.
Need the update. Yeah, move frequently. Keep moving frequently. Don't stay in one.
Yeah. I don't go outside. The sun hates me. I'll just burn to a crisp. So.
It's Bert.
Yeah,
You know what's funny, Nate, about that? So you're kind of a ginger, I guess they call it, and then so am I.
Yeah.
So when we went to Key West for my birthday, Matthew, my son, he's half Mexican, so he just tans. He has no problem being in the sun. Here I am. I got blue eyes, super white skin, and I went in the water for like 20 minutes. And then Tina, they both wanted to lay out. They go lay on the beach. I'm like, I'm not laying out here in the sun. There's no way. So I was up by the sidewalk under a palm tree in the shade, sitting there like this, just on the ground. And I'm burning up. And I'm like, I couldn't sit there more than 15 minutes. I went back down there where they were laying out on the beach. And I'm like, I'm leaving. I don't know what you guys are staying. And they're like, oh, we're not going to, it's your birthday. We're going to go with you. But that was the only beach day we did. That was it.
Anytime I go swimming or
it.
anything like that, I'll have a bandana on my head and a shirt on my back because I can't do it. I'll literally, if I stay out in the sun too long, I'll get 3rd-degree burns.
Oh, my skin will melt off my body. That's I can't do it. Well, you know, Ray, last year at South Padre Island for the family reunion, I got so red. Everybody was taking pictures with my back just because it was so red.
He looked like the lobster he ate.
And I wasn't in the sun long. I just went in the ocean for 30, 40 minutes. And then the rest of the time I was in the shade.
Yeah, I don't tan either. I burn as well. I got to wear those UV ray shirts, the long sleeve UV shirts. That's what I got to wear when I go out there.
Yeah, I got to wear that because I'm getting fat, so I need to hide some stuff.
You got to hide the muffin.
Ian goes out there in a beekeeper's costume.
Just sitting on the beach is the worst, though.
Yeah,
it is.
It's the worst. I hate it.
I do too.
I hate it.
I just don't get. There's no joy in that.
But it's not bad out there. We got a lot of shade though. Yeah, we got a lot of shade, and we're gonna take a easy up to put it over where we're sitting in the water, so we can grab some shade too.
But 110 degrees is 110 degrees, whether you're in the shade or the sun. It's
it'll burn right through the easy up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot. Definitely hot. Our fishing contest. So we've been talking about it. It's been on TikTok. $500 for the first prize. 300, right, Kumar, for a second, and 100 and 150 for third. So send your pictures into Kumar, to the show, to the TikTok, to the Facebook, however you want to get it in here. You've got till Labor Day. Yeah, Labor Day. So we got plenty of time. And yeah, we want to give some money away. We enjoyed it last year. It was great. The Sneed household, Christian's son, won first place. And then Boo Candace from Alaska, who I've never met, but he sent in a picture and he won second place. So we added a third place and we upped the ante on the prize money. So don't forget about that, and I'm sure you'll keep plugging it, Kumar.
Yep.
And then, just remember to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify. What else? MySpace.
Zanga.
I don't know. There's some more. But
Forgot about
Vine.
MySpace.
Vine.
6 seconds trucking clips.
Is MySpace still around?
I don't know. Kumar.
MySpace, the site is still up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anybody uses it, though. I think Justin
Good, that means-
Timberlake
that
tried
means-
to.
I can go
Nate-
back to my MySpace page and actually
Nate's still
listen
on
to
it.
the tool that plays on my page whenever you go to it.
Yeah, you could probably download about 8 viruses to your phone while you're there at the exact same time.
I always felt like a master at computers when I was using it, because you had to do the code and stuff and to make your different layouts and whatnot. You guys know about that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Program your own. Yeah.
I still have trouble
Program your own
emailing,
layouts.
so
It was pretty complex, but yeah, I felt like a genius.
Yeah. I actually like MySpace better than Facebook.
I miss it. I miss my
The
top
social
8.
media
I was
concept.
never
at
on
least.
MySpace. I remember, but I was never on there. I never had an account.
And we were not a world divider where everything was political. It's like I had a sandwich. It's like, you hate animals. It's like, I'm just making a freaking sandwich.
That's funny.
And then I'm like, then I have to talk about my gluten allergy, and then things get really weird.
I saw a Sunday. I mentioned it to you, Kumar. Gunnar Miller was on our show before.
Yeah.
He has a podcast, CWG podcast. Shout out to Gunnar. We had a cool interview with him, pro wrestler, and he's in the logistics world. And I kind of check his stuff out whenever I have a chance. Sunday morning, I was having coffee, and I saw he had a new one up, and he had a broker on, and he did about a close to an hour interview with this dude, and it was pretty good.
I watched some of it.
Yeah, it was kind of like we broker freight too, but this is a guy, is a big from TQL, and so tons of freight. They got to move, and it's like a boiler room kind of setup. But this guy's a heavy hitter there. Very interesting. Not only just the logistics talk, but
Yeah, literally.
the guy's. This guy was. He's an ultra runner. Is that what it's called? where
Like 90K, like
yeah,
for 24 hours.
well, he made it 76 miles, I think he said, on the one run. And then I think he's like, yeah, my body was giving up. I had to
There's like
stop.
there's a Moab, I think 500. It's 500 miles through the Moab desert.
You got to run it.
Yeah. Yep. Run the whole thing.
Oh, what's the time limit?
Wow.
I had a buddy who
Moab
used to run.
240.
I had a buddy that used to run, and he stopped for a while, then started back up, and he's like, "Hey man, I need a couple of Band-Aids. I'm coming over to your house." I was like, "All right, cool." He gets there. He's got his nipples are bleeding through his shirt. I thought he like fell and cut himself, but his
he needed
shirt
Band-Aids
chafed
for
him
that.
so much because it chafed his nipples. Yeah.
Well, I've heard of that. I've heard of that because there's
I'm
some
out.
runners in my family. My nephew and my son both run marathons, and that is a thing because figure
I saw
26
it.
miles.
Yeah. It happened to me one time. I was at
That's
work.
when you wish you have inverted nipples.
I was at
Concave
work at a
nipples.
warehouse, and then all of a sudden I saw I was bleeding through my shirt, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
What if you have your belly button is an Audi? I wonder if that one would bleed.
That would hurt.
Well, if your belly button's
gotta
rubbing up
bleed it.
against your shirt that much, you're probably not running.
Anyway.
So I can imagine a bunch of runners taking off their shirt at the end of the run, and then just chest covered with tape and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, what's
Like
more
that
entertaining?
Vaseline on the nipples.
Yeah.
What's more entertaining, watching a bunch of 90-pound guys run 90 miles or a 400-pound guy running 100 yards? You know,
I like that ladder. The 400-pound guy.
that'd be
one.
entertaining. Roll a donut
Yeah.
down the hill.
There's probably
That's
you could
hard to
probably
decide.
search that on TikTok and find it.
That's it.
Yeah, when
See
I was
my
in high
picture.
school, there was a fat man relay where it was a 400 meter relay, and it was all like the discus and the shot put throwers. So I was in it.
Yeah.
But I was like the smallest out of all of them. But yeah, it was always
I just-
fun.
Were your
Love to
nipples
say
bleeding?
that, or you?
No, they weren't. Didn't happen then, thankfully.
The moobs were bleeding, right? Boobs.
So Dodie, I know you got to cut out a little early tonight, but can you fill us in? I know you didn't take the drone; you had weather issues. But what was the trip like? We mentioned it last week. Dodie had to drive a boat down to South Florida to his brother. So what was it like? You and your son went.
Yeah, it started out all right. It was beautiful. I got to the boat. Actually, I take that back. We got to the boat. We got to put it in the water, or it was in the water when we got there, and started it up. And there was a steering alarm, and the steering wasn't working. So I'm like, what? The boat's a 2020, barely been used.
Yeah.
21. Actually, it might be a 2020. Anyway, it's barely been used, and so we track it down. It was just a loose wire. It was saying it was a sensor or something like that. We track it down, just a loose wire. Get going, get fuel. Probably got on the water and running about noon, and then it was the wind started to really pick up. And there's a intercoastal. So we have the intercoastal. And then there's like a strip of land that runs down a lot of the coast.
Yeah.
And then you have the Gulf. Well, the intercoastal, you're kind of blocked by that land in between the Gulf and the intercoastal waterway.
So it could protect you from some of the weather.
From, so you're running the intercoastal. A lot of it's no wake zones and things like that, or you go through them. But I said, okay, we'll run this down for a little bit. And then I thought we could only take it so far, and then we had to cut out to the Gulf because I wasn't sure her boat. I wasn't sure how wide the canals were to get through all the way down there through the intercoastal. So we headed out the pass to the Gulf, and I mean, there's just 8-foot rollers just coming in, and the boats, like this. And I'm like, man, the way the wind was coming, those waves would have been coming at our side the whole way down. Like it would have been a nightmare trying to run that, 100 miles or 75 miles, whatever we had left. So I turned around and planned a different route. So we took the intercoastal. I found a route that we ran the intercoastal the whole time down there, and didn't get there till about 9 o'clock. It was about a 9-hour trip.
Wow.
And but then we get there, everything's good. The next day, forecast looks crappy in the morning, so we waited out, and it ends up being really nice during the day. My brother, we go out with him and his family, and the thunderstorms rolling again. If you know anything about Florida, you got summertime's afternoon thunderstorms.
Yeah.
90% of the time they're here and gone quick, but I mean, they rolled in and didn't leave. So we're like,
You're out in
he's
the
got
Gulf.
the kids.
Or you guys fishing?
Yeah, we were out. No, we went to this sandbar a little ways from his house and hung out. And then because he had the kids with him and his wife, and so we were just hanging out at the sandbar. And then we were going to this place to eat, and that's when it started pouring. So we kind of just docked there and waited a little bit, but we started looking at the radar and more just rolling in. So finally, we're like, all right, even if we got about a 30-mile run home. Even if we do run home in this, the kids and the wife can just Uber home from here. We're not going to take them in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll wait for a break and see. So his wife leaves and calls us like 20 minutes later, and she's like, all right, I got you guys a hotel and a dock slip like a mile down the canal where you're at. So you can just pull in there, watch the Lightning game, stay at the hotel, and then you guys can go.
So it really was like Gilligan's Island, but you had better accommodations.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it worked out. But yeah, it was kind of a nightmare weekend.
Yeah.
For boating, I guess you could say, but it was fun when you look back.
Well,
at
and it's
it,
always an adventure,
maybe.
right?
Yeah,
Definitely an adventure.
But,
so, Ian.
Hello.
What's going on in the world of trucking news?
Hey Kumar, you never sent me the link to screen
I know. I just realized. Let's
strike two, gentlemen. First, the load notes. Know that.
Yeah.
Let's move on. And
I got plenty more strikes coming.
Let's go something else, and then I'll get that.
Sports?
Yeah.
Oh, you need the whole. Okay. Yeah. Joel.
Yeah.
Let's knock it out of the park with sports.
Well, I don't have that either. No. All right. What's up, maniacs? I am your host, Joel Howe, and we are going to do a little sports here. Going around the league, leading off Major League Baseball. In the American League East, we still have the New York Yankees on top at 45-16, best in the bigs. Thus far in the Central, Minnesota 36-28, 2.5 games ahead of your Cleveland Guardians. And out west, Houston at 38-24. In the National League East, we still got the Mets on top at 41-22, with the red-hot Atlanta Braves coming up from behind. They are only 5 games back. They won 13 in a row. Much love to the Braves. They are 37-23, but they're still in second. In the Central, St. Louis Cardinals 37-27, 2.5 games ahead of the struggling Milwaukee Brewers, 1-9 in the last 10. Out west, the Dodgers and San Diego are all knotted up, 3 games ahead of the Giants. Tight race there, and that is what is going on in Major League Baseball. Over at College World Series, 8 teams for Omaha this Friday, June 17th through June 27th. We will have the College World Series, 2 brackets. Texas A&M and Oklahoma will battle, and Texas and Notre Dame in the first bracket. In the second bracket, Stanford plays Arkansas, and Auburn will take on Ole Miss, and will crown a College World Series champion on June the 27th. Over in, we'll go ahead and do the NHL. We're talking about the Lightning. That's the Tampa Bay Lightning, going to their 3rd straight Stanley Cup Finals. They will begin Game 1, best-of-7 series tomorrow night in Denver, taking on the Colorado Avalanche, who is favored in the game and the series. If you like blood, you like fights, you like competitiveness, this is the series for you. Tampa Bay, 3rd straight at Colorado. It's going to be good, even if you're not a hockey fan. Over in the NBA, little old game up in Boston tonight, Game 6. That game is 3 games to 2 Golden State in the best-of-7.
I'm probably going to lose
so
that
they're up.
bet. To Christian as well.
boy, that bank 3-pointer at the end of the third put them up by 10 points instead of 7. That's a game changer.
Wow.
Yep, Curry got hot the other night. Boston, last chance. Their backs against the wall. They must win to tie the series and go out to NoCal on probably Saturday for Game 7. Stay tuned. That game is tonight on ABC, 9 o'clock. If you're not driving, check it out. Tomorrow night, ABC, the NHL, the Game 1 begins. Over in NASCAR. Let's talk some NASCAR this weekend over in Nashville.
Remember how we do it, Joel?
Yeah, NAPCAR.
Well, NAPCAR, but we name the car, not the, you don't have to name the guy. Like if it's a Skittle car, you say the Skittle car.
Skittle car 13.
We'll just do all the above. So it's going to be the Ally 400, Lebanon, Tennessee, this Sunday, 5 p.m., the 26th. The Cup standings thus far: number 5, Chase Elliott in the number 9 Chevy car,
That's the Home
representing Napa Auto. Hendricks Motorsports, number 4, Denny Hamlin in 11 Toyota FedEx Gibbs Racing. Number 3, William Byron in the 24 Chevy Exalta Hendricks Motorsports. Number 2, Joey Logano in the number 22 Ford Shell Pennzoil. That's Penske Racing. Number 1, appropriately, the number 1 Chevy. Ross Chastain for Advent Health, and that's Track House Racing.
Hey, Nate Garner,
Nate,
you're muted.
his beard's on fire.
There he is. Nate, you're in a NASCAR, aren't you?
A little bit, not too much.
Don't you think it's better when Joel mentions the what car it is, like the brand that's sponsoring it? Makes it more interesting. I don't know anything about it. So
Who's your driver, Nate?
who's your driver?
Honestly, now I don't have one. When I was younger,
Jeff Gordon.
it would have been Dale Earnhardt. So.
Dale Earnhardt, yeah. Well, so you brought up Jeff Gordon. I want to bring up something real quick, Russ. I get confused. I still think, Joe, I think
Shake
you
a
should
bake.
definitely put the numbers up, because when you say number 24 without anything else behind it, I
Yeah.
think you're talking about Deshaun Watson. And I didn't know that was actually
Everybody's
a
thinking
NASCAR
Jeff Gordon. He's
reference.
thinking Deshaun Watson.
Oh, it just keeps coming.
We had to get
So
a new
that's
sponsor.
what they said
while
about
we're
it.
on sports, who's your quarterback? Is it Deshaun, is it Baker, or is it Donald? I mean,
Well,
I get confused.
no,
with all
Baker
this.
They're all-
Mayfield.
So Baker is on the roster. Deshaun is going to get suspended for part of the season.
Yeah.
We're hoping, but we don't know yet. It's about to come down.
Wait,
You
what's
don't
he
think you're going to
suspended
lose
for?
Baker to
I
the
wonder what
Eagles?
his sponsor is going to be.
So Baker will probably be traded.
Stay
They're not,
nil.
he's not. They excused him from the mini camps and all that, but the mandatory one they can't, from what I understand. So they're going to have to do something before that. We've got what's his name?
That's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his
Brian
name?
Sipe.
No, it's
Tim Couch.
no. I kept calling him Brisket.
Jacoby Brissett. Brissett. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not Brisket.
He's
like
actually
Brisket, that's
started
better.
15 pro games. He played for Indy a little bit. He's not bad. So, he's going to be our starter probably.
Not
day
bad.
one.
Doesn't get you the Super Bowl,
240
Russ.
million doesn't.
Yeah. We just need to get through half the season. With
Yep.
him.
All right. So,
Anyway.
that's NASCAR in Lebanon, Tennessee this weekend. And finally, over at the U.S. Open PGA, the 16th through the 19th in Brookline, Massachusetts, we got the U.S. Open. Before I get to the LIV, the top 5 in the standings this week in the PGA are Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Roy McIlroy, John Rahm, and Scotty Scheffler. Okay, Russ, the LIV, from my understanding, is not an acronym. It simply means the Roman numeral 54, which I guess the Saudis think you're supposed to shoot a birdie on every hole. So at par 72 on a birdie, it'd be 54.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure who's that good.
I don't know.
But
Apparently, Dustin Johnson is, right?
but they, I don't know. Somebody's got some
or
money.
Mickelson's over there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, all I've heard is
I don't have any opinion or in the game there with this new golf league. I mean, they've got some pretty heavy hitters that are over there, I think some of the tournaments are going to be different, but I'll watch. I mean, I like watching golf, so I'll watch.
They're
both.
throwing some big money at these guys.
Big
it's
money.
hard to turn down. Like,
I mean, Mickelson
I
got
heard
200.
I heard Tiger turned down
$1 billion.
close to $1 billion. Yeah,
I heard that too. They paid Mickelson like $200 million to
Well,
sign with him.
They can afford it with all these gas prices that they all raised.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Is
Speaking of that, real quick before we get
thanks,
go,
U.S. government.
Thanks, Saudi Arabia.
Right. I had a driver ask about the fuel surcharge. Has anybody else noticed? And I told him I would ask about this. The difference of the fuel surcharge our trucks get paid versus how much additional you're paying. I never tried to match the fuel to the fuel surcharge for each load that we get paid. But do you guys see an increase in the fuel surcharge? Like let's say the fuel surcharge pays you $300 on a load.
And what does it cost you to actually buy the fuel for that load?
How much more are you paying? Because this driver told me it was about maybe 15% before, but it's maybe quite a bit more than that now.
Well, I can just tell you this. I have an example here of on Ray, and I broke this down on 2,900 miles. That's deadhead and empty. I'm sorry, deadhead and loaded. His fuel was $26.67. So it's not quite $1. It's under $1 a mile for fuel.
So I figured. Yeah,
and
so
fuel
I figured
was 76 cents. The fuel surcharge this week.
So it's 91 cents in fuel, right?
So it's 91 cents.
Yeah.
And what's fuel surcharge? You say
76. So it's 15 cents.
Right.
Yeah, so it's 15% roughly.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, 15
17
cents.
somewhere in there.
He switched trucks and stuff. I figured that. I figured about $1 a mile for fuel nowadays.
That's what I figure.
Is the cost.
And if you can beat that, I think you're doing okay.
And most baselines are about 23 cents on their baseline for fuel surcharge, where they start at that 21 to 23 cents. So that's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
and
also
cents.
I did it, Christian, at 6%. 6% at 6 miles to the gallon, which is about what Ray gets.
Yeah.
Right, Ray? So give or take.
Yeah, we're according to fuel gauges, I'm about 6.7 right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So I did it at 6. So if he's doing 6.7, he's going to be a little bit under. It'll be a little bit better for him.
Better for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I have another one for you guys, since you brought up that golf and fuel in other countries.
Yeah.
In the research I was doing the past 2 days, I have a question for y'all.
That's a great question.
That is the best question we've had.
Hang on, you glitched out for a minute.
You froze, which is great.
It was a great way to, and your mouth was like
wide open. I hope Matt puts that on full screen. He'll hear this.
Does he answer A?
Answer's A.
Yeah, A.
So what's the question?
So the top 10 countries in the world for lowest fuel cost, where do you think, let's say within 50 cents, where do you think their fuel costs are?
What they're okay
per gallon, like price per gallon.
Cheapest?
Because what are you
like 50 cents a gallon?
Are you going to tell us the country, or do you want us to guess the countries too?
No, just the top 10, just the rate, just the price per gallon. Like, what do you think the price is per gallon? I'll tell you the countries. I have them here, but
I would say Saudi Arabia has got to be up there.
Yeah, like 50 cents, 25 cents.
I would say
maybe even less than that.
I'd say
I'm gonna go with Venezuela.
Oh, Venezuela's got to be on there.
Yeah. So Venezuela is 8 cents a gallon. Number one, Venezuela is 8 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
How's that?
Because fuel prices are made up by rich people.
Okay. Well, because not only that, they produce. Oh, these are super oil rich.
That's not true.
These are super oil rich countries that produce their own.
So they have enough to sustain
fuel.
themselves.
Well, not just that. We don't get any of our fuel from here.
Yeah, we have not built a refinery since 1972, I believe.
We don't get, and they have all the they have all their own fuel, so they export it to us. We buy fuel from them, and they can have and their countries.
So there's
super cheap prices.
Yeah,
Libya 12 cents a gallon, Iran 20 cents, Syria $1.08, Algeria $1.19, Kuwait $1.29, Malaysia $1.76. Topping out the top 10.
There's not one of those countries that's on my top 10 list where I want to live, though.
Right.
No,
they don't have a state tax on these fuels either. In a lot of these places,
Mike, one of the other places Libya, it's cheaper to buy fuel than it is to buy water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think to see that, it's like, man, we can't. You're telling me we can't get $2 or $3 a gallon around here?
Oh, they could.
Like
They could.
We can't. That's a tough one.
They can. They can.
So,
Go
I
ahead,
have a
Ray. You
question.
were
The
gonna
narrative.
say something. I caught half of it. What were you saying?
What I was gonna say about Venezuela is the only reason why I knew it was Venezuela is because I recently saw some kind of a documentary on it where, I mean, gas is practically limitless. You can buy as much of it for very little money, but try going out there and buying a gallon of milk or a pound of rice or beans. It's astronomical how much that stuff costs versus gas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Because they're probably importing all that stuff,
Right.
And so I mean, I don't know.
They're also rationing this. They're also rationing too. So there's only limits. Even if you can buy it, there's limits on how much you can buy. It's a communist country. It's just how it is.
They're paying 8 cents a gallon for gas, but they're paying $43 for a gallon of milk.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, roughly.
Or $400. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
actually, in Venezuela, isn't their currency Bitcoin? I think the whole country that's their national currency now, I believe.
I think they at least tried.
Yeah. Well, they're still doing it because they own like 300 Bitcoin from what I've read. I don't know.
Well, that's not much
300,
anymore.
that's it.
It's not worth much right now.
No.
Hold
The
them.
whole country
I'm back to
owns
square one.
300.
Yeah, they
It's-
went to their currency. I'm pretty sure it was Venezuela.
Since I mean, I've always known that we've always exported most of our oil and all that stuff, but when they say we're going to release some barrels or whatever out of our reserve,
Strategic reserve.
yeah, strategic reserves in quotation, they're doing that in hopes that they're going to flood the market with barrels of oil to reduce the price of oil.
Well, it
that-
does reduce the
Yeah.
price of oil because it's
Supply and demand.
it's a supply and demand issue, and whenever you have more oil in the market, then prices tend to drop down. Right
Because
now,
you have
yeah,
You
yeah,
got
but
less
it's
demand.
only
If we
short term
just-
fix. It's a
Yeah,
short
and
term
if we
fix.
just tapped into this, the thing is, we just don't tap into the supply we have here, or we just tapped
Yeah.
into what we had here and built some
We
refineries.
shouldn't at
would-
least. We
Well, I can
shouldn't.
tell you, it sucks. And every driver out there that's used to spending $1,200 or $1,400 a week in fuel is now spending $2,400 to $2,800 a week in fuel. And
Yeah.
like we had this conversation a couple nights ago, Mike. It really hurts. That's a huge amount of money to your bottom line as a business owner, as an owner operator.
Settlement.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big
Yeah.
elephant in every room in every trucking company right now is the price
Yeah.
of fuel.
Well, that strategic reserve release that he had was 180 million gallons of fuel. It was basically, it was 1 million gallons a day, and they said it seemed like a strong move. It was a temporary fix, and just it's kind of like if somebody else brought something else into the market and they're going to run the value down. I'm not going to sell my product now. And then when that oil gets removed from being inside the market, then I'll reintroduce my oil and have a higher price. I mean, releasing our reserves doesn't do a great. There's no long-term solution. And the
It's
last
a
time,
Band-Aid.
what that?
It's just a band-aid.
But it's not.
On-
It's
on
not
the
really.
nipples.
But it's not really Band-Aid. If you and I are on nipples. If you and I are competing, Ray, and I end up flooding the market with mine, and I take everything down 30 cents, right? Just for happenstance numbers, you're not going to say, "Well, I'm going to continue to sell mine less at 30 when I can store it." And then when you're coming back out, you're making up for lost time. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be strategic reserve, but it was not a strategic plan, and it was only for 180 days. And let's think about if we have to fill the reserves back up, we're doing it at the highest fuel prices ever now, as opposed to when Trump filled it up when he was in office. He knew that the prices were down. He asked for the approval and received it. So I mean, we're either going to be without our reserves, or we're going to give it and put it back in the market, and we're going to sell something at a high point that we bought low, but then have to buy it back at a high point. I mean, so it's a net zero. It's a net zero. game.
And the other thing too is the strategic reserve. What is that for? It's not for. It's not to help manipulate the market with that oil that we got in reserve. It's really for war, or like if we ever go to war, we need to have that reserves in case our pipelines get cut off. Supplies
Yeah.
get cut off. That's what
I
it's
mean-
for. It's not supposed to be meant to manipulate the market.
Yeah. And if we're investors in a market and we say, okay, well, we have government entities telling us they want to run us out, and when we have profits, they shame us for it, right? And they're pushing green technology or green economic solutions, which I'm okay with some of that, but it should be by capitalism, not crony capitalism. So we can't have the increase in taxes not be discounted on fuel, but then we're offering discounts for electric cars to get on the road, right? It should be uniform across the board. And I do believe there's a lot of companies, oil companies that got rich for a lot of tax reasons, but they're venture capitalists. They're putting in a whole lot of money up front for a return over a period of time. And then,
So-
all of a sudden we have $10 a gallon on gas. Like, well, I don't know why they're making so much money. Well, maybe because you told them you're going to run them out of business.
Well, and I read that this morning, Christian, on this the start of the pandemic, that the big oil companies here in the United States, supply or demand went way down because everything was shut down. People stayed home. So, and that and I know that drove the price of the barrel way down. And I don't know the ins and outs of the government and their relationship or anything like that. But the article I was reading, I was just trying to educate myself on this fuel stuff because it sucks, was saying that now these, they're basically setting like you said, they're setting their supply based on the demand that we had during the pandemic, which is the demand is way more. So, and the government in this article I was reading was trying to say, hey, you got to do something, and they're saying, well, wait a minute, we got stuck with all this in the pandemic, and the price of the barrel of oil was down to negative, wasn't it, at one point?
Yeah,
it was like zero.
Well, it's
negative.
Yeah.
If you had a place you could store it, I don't know if this is true, but I heard if you had a place you could store it and get it off the tankers, they would pay you to take it. I don't know how true that is, but
I think that's what the oil companies are telling the government is that, hey, we got stuck and you didn't help, and now you're saying Americans need some relief. We do, but on these prices, but they're saying we're not going to ramp up supply.
Yeah,
so we're
and
stuck
by the way,
with it for the summer.
if you cut the land lease blocks and you allowed them to start to pull the fuel out, and it's not an immediate fix, but I look at like a PlayStation 5. You have a PS5 right now, right? You can get what you want out of it because there's not a whole lot in the market now. If Sony had 1 million of them sitting in a warehouse, right, just the same way, and the pandemic came and nobody bought them. When it's time and people want to buy and have money, I'm not releasing them all at the same time. It's
right. And that's what they're doing, the big oil companies.
Well, and I'm not saying I fault them for it, because if
I'm not either. I'm just saying it sucks for us.
But I'm saying, if we continue to have regulations that mean we can drill less, why am I going to go ahead and sell all my stock now, run the value of the product down if I know I can't get more? If everyone said, let's open up drilling, let's open up the refineries, let's not convert gas to diesel to try to bring diesel prices down, which is going to bring gas prices up, and we're all going to be in the same boat. If we continue to exchange our refineries from standard fuel to diesel to solve the diesel crisis, we are going to all be paying more at the pump for our cars. And I am a borderline conspiracy theorist on this, that it's by design. You raise the prices of fuel enough, people look at electric vehicles, period.
Yeah.
Point blank. That's what they're going to do. I mean, I drive an Excursion. It gets 10 miles a gallon when it's great, and it gets 10 and a half if I'm downhill and the wind's at my back. But we change our habits based off of our expenses. I don't drive that right now, but
I saw a TikTok the other day. It was an Amish guy that said that his bishop told him it's time to recruit because the gas prices are so high that people are going to need to ride horses. So they said they'll give you one starter pony and 10 bales of hay to join the Amish.
It doesn't sound that bad either when you're at the pump, does it?
Yeah, we're going to sign up.
Yeah. What's that Cat Williams, I think it's the comedian or whatever, has that clip, like, you shouldn't be making life choices at the gas pump.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, I've seen a few at the gas pump that were pretty funny on TikTok. So, Ian, do you got the news ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, guys, I got a bail.
Yeah, we'll see you, Mike.
Hey, we'll play your TikTok clip.
Oh, yeah, we will. We'll talk about it.
You got one, really? Get him.
Hold on. I was trying to get my day in history thing pulled up as well. All right, so for this day in history,
It's Mike's boat.
Marilyn Manson went on trial for the Sharon Tate murders. This is the 15th of June. So
I heard about that.
Kumar,
Yeah.
is slacking, man. Damn. All right, we'll get into some news here.
I'm reading about it right now too. That's okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Yes,
like
I
you're
am.
slacking. Come on, man. All right. So this May was the third busiest month ever in the Port of LA. The only months to beat it were last year in May and then October in 2020, which it didn't seem like things had been that crazy busy down there, but I guess they are. It's just that they don't have the lack of storage and equipment like they were having last year. They were much more prepared this year. And then another one that had some crazy records was Savannah. They have broken their record for May. A lot busier than last year, 8.3% up in containers. Oh, yeah, there's a company over in California that keeps getting fuel siphoned from their gas tanks that they said, we'll just give you money. Stop stealing from us.
What's that address? What's that address?
Where's that at?
Yeah.
Sacramento.
Can you book me to California?
They just have so many people that are coming in, putting holes in the bottom of their tanks, draining them dry, that they have to repair the tanks and they have to replace the fuel, which is astronomical right now, as we've been talking about.
Or you could just shoot them.
Shoot 'em, Elizabeth.
More great fuel news. Connecticut is seeing a 9-cent increase in their tax on fuel.
On
Can't get a
top of
break.
going to a mileage rate for their, because they're also going to the mileage tax on vehicles as well.
Really? Now, is that just for residents
It's-
and local
Well,
companies?
for Connecticut, it's going to be for anyone that has a vehicle that runs through there. So it's much like New York Hut. It's going to be the same thing, and it's going to be based on your weight. And I think it's up to 29 cents a mile within the next 5 years. I can get the facts on it.
Can't catch a break, huh?
Not as a
That's what
trucker.
Robert is today.
Robert loves the Northeast. And then here is a viewer submission. Let's see. Yes, Midwest is closing one of their locations. They're saying like 58 employees are being laid off, and then they have, I think, like 150 some drivers as well, which they're trying to help them all transfer over to ATS if possible.
So is ATS like their parent company? I mean, I've heard of ATS.
We're set up with them.
ATS
I haven't heard of Midwest. But
picked up Midwest. They're
buying them out or
yeah,
something? Okay.
yeah, and then it looks like they're just gutting the inside of the office and firing everybody that works
Yeah,
there.
layoffs are going to start August 1st, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there
So
it is, yeah.
really unfortunate for those people. Hope for the best for them.
But
Sad
you
to see
can
that.
apply for a job there.
So you have to apply to the new company
Yeah.
that's buying
Yeah,
out ATS.
yeah,
You got
and-
to qualify and all that stuff.
Exactly.
You would think that there'd be some liability protections when you have a larger company purchase you out like that. But
Yeah.
I mean,
How many trucks will be released to the market? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
They're talking, what, 150 trucks total?
Yeah, but I think they were all purchased by ATS.
Or they have to
Okay.
well, they have to apply and be approved, in other words, to run for ATS, I guess.
Yeah.
Their trucks don't look like that.
yeah, can you imagine having a merger
consolidated.
begin? Can you imagine having a merger begin June 2nd and then like, well, August 1st, we're going to close, guys? I mean,
Yeah.
like that sucks. Like I'm sorry, like that's pitiful, and I'm not sure who the guy that was wearing a tie in the company thought that'd be a good purchase and not do his math. I mean, again, conspiracy theories. It looks like it's by design. How can we acquire equipment?
It was the Browns.
I was right. I mean, they wanted 3 quarterbacks just like the Browns. But
Yeah.
Sorry,
Murders
guys.
and executions are always a
So
messy
you-
business. I mean,
you-
mergers.
You brought up a good point, though, Christian, and that could be by design, where they just equipment is sky high, and this might have been a way to grab equipment at a cheaper price. And who cares about the people? I'm not
Exactly.
saying we can't prove that. I'm not saying that, but that is a really good hypothetical.
Yes. Extremely.
I
good
mean,
hypothetical.
I worked for MCA based out of Florida, and Pat Selman bought them out, and nobody knew about it until the last second. And then they sent over a bunch of paperwork saying, well, we're not firing anybody. They're all hiring you guys, but you have to fill this out. You're still
Gotta
going to work,
reapply.
and we're still going to pay, but you have to reapply.
yeah, it's 15 cents less a mile, and you're home once a month. But you're
Yeah.
welcome to apply.
That's the easiest way to run them out.
But thanks for the trucks.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time here. But that's the easiest
Yep.
way to run them out, is make them reapply, and you get to pick and choose. And you know, you can get rid of everybody if you want. Yeah.
It's legal.
For MCA.
That was a viewer that Kumar, do you know who it was?
Yeah, I can figure that
just say
out.
it.
Anyway, yeah, we can just say the first name, but thanks for requesting us and sending that
Yeah,
information
appreciate
in.
the feedback.
And yeah, we do. We appreciate the feedback.
Here's one from Kumar. This is somebody's.
Oh, this is from Jim.
Oh, this is from Jim. Thank you, Jim.
This is excellent.
Oh man, look at that little dog. He's around.
Is that a
that
pig?
fat
That is a
dog or
pig.
Dog.
That's one dog and one pig. And
On
he's
a
leashed
leash.
up too.
Wow.
Jim doesn't have cats anymore. He has pigs.
Oh wow.
Oh, that was Zach Foshi 1.
Okay.
U.S. Express.
Well, thanks,
has a
Zach,
big
for
red
that.
policy.
Sending that
Thanks,
in.
Zach.
See, I'm trying to lose weight because I don't want to have to get a ladder like that for my truck.
It's a new 4-point.
Ray, are you parked?
No, I'm driving,
Oh, okay. Okay. I was
but I
just
have
gonna
my
say,
ladder inside the truck.
yeah, ladders in the truck.
Yeah.
Was it like that?
That's great.
No, yep, that's the news, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Ian.
Don't want to
So-
bring up ATS too much, but when they said it was a part of their strategic plan due to shipment changes and market demand, I always envisioned, just from having worked for a very large company before, you know, they had 1, 3, and 5 year plans. They none of the purchases that they made, none of the acquisitions they made ever had a 30 or 60-day shelf life to it. Like if you look at the market of what larger carriers are doing. I mean, I'm talking even 500 to 1,000 trucks, right? I mean, you're 12, 15 months out on your purchases, your leases. I mean, you understand depreciation schedules, what's expiring, your overhead, you know, your workman's comp, changes in insurance and stuff like that are annualized, but there's a margin of error in it. I mean, when is it you pick up a trucking company that size and 60 days later you shut the doors?
Yeah. I mean, that it really adds up. And the with the type of prices in the market for equipment, man, I could
But
see
those are real freaking people.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that was
it
an
is.
I, not a you. Those are real people
Yeah.
that have to either change their livelihood, who they work for, and benefit structure, and everything else that Midwest had offered them.
Yeah.
Right. And I imagine just like every other company that gets bought out, yours said, hey, I'm selling my business to a rock solid business. ATS has been around for what, 70 years, 65 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not discrediting the fact that it's something that ATS did that was bad or, you know, intentional. But man,
Sure looks
Wow.
suspicious.
well, it's just, there are horrible consequences to
Yeah.
not giving a whole
Yeah.
lot of forethought to it.
Right.
And people don't think about that when they're doing stuff like that about other people. They just don't
That it
care.
affects.
'Cause, yeah, I mean, when Celadon closed, and because I mean, I live in Indianapolis, you know, right outside of it. When Celadon closed, there wasn't a job anywhere.
That happened
the
overnight
job
too.
market, yeah, the job market was so flooded, like you literally would have to pay people to work for them.
Well, they had
Like, there was no
35 or
jobs anywhere.
yeah, they had like what was it, 35 or 4,000 drivers that hit the street all the same day. I mean, that was pretty bad.
So news broke on Celadon on December 6th of 19, and then by the 9th they were closed.
Yes,
It was pretty crazy.
it was crazy.
Well, by the way, in trucking, you know, those swings aren't irregular. You have huge equipment costs and things like that. You know, you're trying to get it out. Did they have financing that didn't go through?
Well, what they had was they were into
Yeah.
insider trading.
Yeah,
and-
the
and
SEC was involved.
They had
Really?
they got in trouble with the
SEC.
the SEC because
Big trouble.
They overinflated the price of equipment for loans, different things like that.
I think it was some
Well, it-
misleading the shareholders as
oh
well.
yeah, I think people
Yeah.
went to jail too.
Oh, I doubt that.
Well, I don't know, but I thought I heard that, but who knows?
They should
I
have.
thought somebody went to jail too.
I think somebody did, or a few people. I'm not sure though, but that was pretty bad for and that I remember when that broke. It was like Ian and I were glued to it because we used to be an agent under,
I was too. Yeah.
and Ray was with us back then. We were under Eagle, which was another company they had for a little while, and we got out of there. We got out of there before this happened.
Oh yeah, we
were long
saw
gone.
The
We saw it.
writing
Yeah.
on the wall.
And
Yeah, we were
looked-
with Eagle, then we went to Celadon, and then after Celadon, came over to Metal Arc.
We didn't really go to Celadon. They were just closing their Eagle doors, and they're like, "But we're Celadon owns it, so you guys you're just going to be under us." And we were like, "Okay, well we're out of here. We're working our way out of here real fast." And
Did
and then
you all know that Celadon sold their logistics division 8 months before they closed?
No,
and I'm just reading off of Wikipedia, which
Yeah.
It says in April 2019, Celadon sold its logistics division, Celadon Logistics, to TA Services out of Mansfield, Texas.
Okay.
Oh, so that's
And so
TA.
they were going to
also-
run. They're going to run independently for 6 months, then be folded into TA.
Jag, their Mexican carrier that they owned, they I think went off on their own, and they're still around, right, Ray?
Yeah, I still see
Laredo.
Jaguar. Yeah, I still see Jaguar in Laredo,
Yeah.
but they're mainly crossover logistics.
Border cross. Yeah, they bring it
Yeah.
across.
So last news I see about Celadon executives going to court for charges was early this year. No new news, but apparently a couple of them were charged. Just nothing's gone with it yet. But
They
usually
sent
these
a-
things take a while.
Celadon sent messages to the drivers via ELD for the closing.
Yes.
That's how
Yes.
they.
Oh,
Yes.
I'll see if
Yeah.
I can find it.
I mean, we heard about it,
Yeah.
because we were glued to it because, we were there for a short time.
Ian, I think you just sent me
Yeah,
that.
and not only that, I was also on the Facebook page, the Celadon Facebook page for drivers. And even though I was over here, I had never taken myself off of it. So when they actually shut the doors, man, my Facebook page was going up all day long. Drivers just, not knowing what the hell to do.
Here's the ELD. Ian just found it on the.
Yeah.
Information in the
Google.
morning as to where equipment needs to be returned to. We have been assured that
Everyone who-
follows instructions will be paid for the work and miles assigned completed. Celadon will not leave anyone stranded from home, which
That
there
wasn't
were-
true because we were picking up guys.
There were a lot of horror stories
Yeah.
of that happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was horrible.
Well, that's
Oh,
awful.
I
when
still
you
see Celadon trailers, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, you see it like where they took the stickers
right.
off,
It's
but
an
you can
old
still.
Celadon.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
one last month that still had the stickers on.
Casey
Yeah, I took a picture of
Worldwide.
one a couple of weeks ago, put it on our prayer group.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
there was that one Celadon trailer that I picked up that had been sitting outside of a store that a guy bought in Georgia when I did a power unit only load.
yeah, you see them around every now and then. I mean, somebody bought up that equipment.
Oh, hold on. I found the beginning part of that message. They even sent out, "We have filed for Chapter 11" in their ELT. Oh my god! What an insane mess. I mean,
Well, I mean, it is a uniform message. They say when you're going through that kind of, you really want to progress, put the same message out there.
yeah.
Well, they
I
did
guess-
that. Here, guys. I mean, imagine being
They're
out
being
of your truck for
transparent
like
then.
2 weeks on vacation.
Yeah,
thinking,
that's
Well, what's
transparency
funny-
right there.
What's funny is they also in that what you just showed, they said we will continue to haul and pay for the loads that are in transit.
Right.
So I wonder how many. Well, there was a lot of guys that were just pulling into truck stops and walking away.
Yeah.
with loaded trailers.
Well, the problem was
they knew they weren't going to get paid.
not even that. They weren't able to get fuel. They started cutting off fuel cards, and guys just couldn't go anywhere. They were just stranded.
Yeah.
And they are, and then they know they're not going to get paid if they use their own money for fuel. So yeah, they just left.
Yeah. Boy, Zach, our viewer that sent that in about Midwest, you got us going down a rabbit
there
hole.
you go,
here.
buddy. Send some more. Send some more.
So, anyway, thank you for the news, Ian. And I wanted to, so before I get to you, Christian, I wanted to go over, and this won't take long, an example of Ray. So this is how I run Ray. I don't run him all the time, but through the years, me and Ray have, I've ran him out of the house. So he lives in San Antonio. Can you throw the screen share up?
Yep.
If we can get a load out of San Antonio, we will. So Ray, I ran you Laredo, Texas, and then these, just so everybody knows, this isn't how he ran this week. I actually went in the market today over the next couple days and structured out a week, starting from a Wednesday to a Wednesday, how I would run Ray, how much revenue, and I didn't bump anyone on these loads. This was a posted rate, and it's people that we normally work with, so it wasn't like something that I had to get a broker set up or anything like that. And I left out customer freight, so this was strictly the market today. I ran him out of Laredo to Taunton, Mass, 2,100 miles for $6,300, and the load actually weighed 17,000 pounds. I did look for light loads, Ray, because he's all that Ray's always on me about how much does it weigh, and I get it because I drove too, and he's all about fuel mileage, so I do put the effort into when I'm booking Ray to try and find lighter loads for the same money. Doesn't always work, Ray, but a lot of times we do okay doing that.
We try.
So 6,300 on 21. Then I deadheaded him over to Ayer, Mass. I think I said that right. And to Lancaster, New York, 440 miles, $1,100. Keep in mind, I didn't get to negotiate these rates; these were posted. We might have been able to squeeze a few $100 more on these, but
especially taking 90 the whole way. I'm just messing with you. You're good. I'm just joking.
Ayer, Mass to Lancaster, 440, and that's $1,100 on 440 miles. And then I found a shorty. So basically, if he'd have left Wednesday and took that 2,100 mile run out of Laredo, he would have deadheaded. What is it, 150 miles roughly down to Laredo, Ray, from your house?
160.
Okay, so he would have deadheaded down there, and I added the deadhead in on his total miles for the week, and then a 60-mile deadhead to Ayer, Mass. And then once he got over there to Lancaster, New York, which we do pretty good out of, but I didn't look for any customer freight there, just went off the spot market. Lancaster's right by Buffalo. I guess that's a suburb there.
Yeah.
So Buffalo, there was no deadhead, 13 miles. To Syracuse, 150-mile run, $950. And that one was light too. So the total miles, including deadhead, from San Antonio down, the total miles was 2,915 miles. Total revenue was $8,350. So what I wanted to break down, and you can click off the screen share because I just wanted to kind of show you how I ran it.
285 a mile.
Right. So what I wanted to show you a little breakdown. The fuels is hard, and I know. So, and I got this written down, so you just have to follow me. We did $8,350 in revenue. I'm gonna just tell you like this. I'm not gonna break out the fuel surcharge on just talking it through you. If you add what a typical driver gets plus the fuel surcharge at 100%, it's probably going to be in the area of 77 to 80% is what you're going to keep. So we're going to go with 77. Do you think that's fair? Am I right, Christian?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, depending on your setup and equipment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to say 8,350 times 77%, 6,391 is what Ray's going to get, and then minus the 2,900 miles I did it at 6 miles to the gallon is 485 gallons of fuel to run the loaded and deadhead miles. At 5, I called Kevin to make sure that lane coming up from Texas. He said probably going to average about 550 a gallon,
That's right.
When you fuel. So I did it at that. He's basically just under this, but 2667 in fuel. So if I take the 6391 that driver Ray keeps minus $2,700 in fuel, I still can't believe I'm saying that. He's left with 3691.
And the truck payment.
What truck payment?
Or the trailer.
Ray
No
paid
truck
off
payment.
his truck, Joel.
Okay, good.
But I did it both ways. I did it both ways because I knew you'd ask. So for Ray's example,
Our trailer.
for Ray's example, he's got another roughly $300 in fixed costs between his trailer and his OCAC and stuff. Right, Ray? Roughly?
It's $700.
Can I get on that program?
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's not $700 for your trailer and OCAC?
Are you
And
talking
plates.
about all of my fixed expenses?
No, I'm just talking about.
not including fuel.
Yeah, no, we already did fuel. You're left with after fuel.
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
$36.91. You got about $300 more, give or take.
You're right. I'm sorry because I'm thinking about my
all
reserves too.
Yeah.
He puts money in his reserve. So, but without his reserve getting any money, and Ray's left with, I just took out trailer, insurance, plates, etc. OCAC. He's left from $36.91 to $33.31. That's Ray's take-home pay on this week. And what'd you say the rate per mile was, Christian? 285.
Yeah, 285. Yeah.
Wasn't spectacular. And we covered the fuel at $2,700.
But how much was the tolls?
I don't know. I would have avoided tolls, and so does Ray.
Well, it would have been hard to go. Going over to the Rochester and Syracuse because you're on 90 the whole way.
You could have. That might be where you had to pay a toll. So you could.
But
Let's just say
most of
a
it,
couple $100. That's fair. He took home
It's usually not
3,100.
that bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's
those
that
tolls
much.
They're about $50. I mean,
Okay.
if you run the whole 90, it's like $50
In New York.
in New York. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a little more, but you would know. I've been off the road for a while. But my point is this. So Ray has spent the time to pay off his truck. He actually owns another truck, and he's got a company driver in that. And, Ray's done things right. He's been with us for years. And I'm not saying anyone else is doing it wrong. I'm just saying he's well advanced down this road. And so, yeah, the fuel's hurting everybody. Because if the fuel hadn't doubled a few months ago, instead of spending $2,700 in fuel, Ray would have spent $13.
Right.
So that would have been, instead of 33 in his pocket, that would have been 46.
Fuel What'd you say, 83
Fuel prices are up 72% year over year, by the way.
Yes. So
Yeah.
$8,350 in total revenue, Joel, is what I broke it down.
Right. Would have been 50%, and now it's
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, a
I
couple
just
of-
said that.
Yeah.
So, but a couple months ago, he would have spent $1,300 in fuel. He would have took home $4,600.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now
Hey, a
let's
couple
look.
of years ago, I would, whenever I was mentoring, I would have always said, if you're spending $1,000 to $1,500 a week in fuel, it's a great week. And I can't even believe that I'm hearing those numbers now.
That's why I
But-
keep
but
saying
yeah.
I look at this 2,700 in fuel. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
You have
And
an
I know
automatic
Ray.
truck?
What's that?
Ray, do you have an automatic truck?
No.
No, I don't.
he
It's
doesn't.
I got 13 speed.
Are you progressive?
it-
Are you progressive shifting, or are you
I-
like revving past the max and getting somewhere when you're taking off?
No, I don't shift any higher than 1,400 RPMs on this truck. And Michael's truck is an 18 speed, and he does the same.
And Ray drives slow. I think we've talked about it, Christian. On the if he can go 60 and be on time, he'll stay running and go 60. He stays in the right lane unless he needs to get over because he's coming up to where someone's getting on.
Yeah.
But that's how Ray drives. That's how I drove. That's how Joel drove. And we were trying to beat fuel back in the day, Ray and Joel. We were trying to beat fuel when it was half of this or even less, and we were still driving slow to do better on fuel. But so I wanted to break this down because this is it's unprecedented to spend almost $3,000 in fuel for a week in a in a truck. We had that happen one time, Christian, and you know what they were doing? I caught the driver selling fuel with our fuel card at the fuel pump because I saw the fuel bill and it was like $3,000. I'm like, there's no way. And this is back when drivers were spending $1,000 a week in fuel, 1,200 tops, and we caught him.
Now, was this a company driver or owner operator? Because
This
owner
was a
operator
company
comes
driver.
Okay, but it comes out of his own settlement.
No, this was a company driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
a hell of a game if you can buy it for $240 and sell it for $260 at the
Doing
pumps.
for myself.
Send
I
them my
couldn't
way.
believe it. Yeah.
Well, no, I think he
That's
wasn't
crazy.
owner op. He was just planning on quitting.
Wasn't that
No,
Celadon?
no, you're thinking of someone else. This was a lady.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
we're,
yeah,
we're
I am thinking
Eagle.
of somebody
Yeah.
else.
We're at Eagle
There's
when
a
that
link.
happened.
But okay, now
But,
let's break this down one other way. So I'm not going to go through all the numbers again. I'm just going to tell you, Ray would have took home $3,300 because he has already put in the time and bought his own truck and paid it off.
Yep.
If you have a full service lease truck, a new truck, from whoever you're with, whatever company, and your lease truck on those brand new trucks, we all know the prices are up. So we're just going to use our example at $980 a week. Instead of $3,300, the only difference here is the truck payment that I didn't take out for Ray. Your net would have been $2,351, and that's spending the same amount on fuel as Ray did. You might have been able to do a little better if you have a new truck getting 7, but it's all the same, 6 miles to the gallon. So that's just an example. And if you had, here's another way to look at it too. Let's say you had you're an owner operator that you don't have a full service lease truck, but you went out and bought your own truck, and let's say your truck payment's $2,000 a month. So at $500 a week you take out for a truck. On this example, $8,300 in revenue, you took home $28. So I just wanted to break down some numbers so you could actually see, with the fuel being as high as it is, you can still make a living at this, but when something goes wrong, it can hurt, and it can cost you, and we all know that.
Yeah, could I add something to that? If you
Yeah,
don't mind,
go ahead.
Chris?
That's why I brought it up. I wanted you to talk about it.
Yeah, two things. I mean, one, I get it's mock scenario, but it's very close to what I'm taking home every single week.
Yeah.
It's close to all of my numbers all the way across the board. It's very close. And and the only reason why you're able to get that close is because you know the way I operate, and you're the one that helps book my truck as well. So that's and the second thing is a lot of the guys that I've been preaching to for the longest time is like, slow the truck down, you'll get better fuel mileage. And when the fuel was cheap, nobody ever listened. I mean, very few people do. Very few people do. But now that the price is so high, I'm amazed at how bad fuel mileage my truck actually gets to some of those guys who are now starting to slow down. They're getting better fuel mileage than me, and I've been doing this for a lot longer.
Well, I mean, honestly, the fuel's so high that I could say this: slow down or go out of business. Right?
Yeah.
Slow down or go out of business. I mean, where do you want to? I mean, you're in this to make money. I mean, there's one factor that changed, and that was, what'd you say, 73% up in fuel. I mean, it's just it's insane. So I can't fix the problem. It's not. I don't even understand it, but I know how to fix the things like Christian brought up before. Try and target and focus on the things that are in your control and that you can control. And that's why I brought this up, because the one thing you can is the big old variable in what you either goes in your pocket or goes in the tanks, and that's your fuel.
Yeah. And a lot of guys that are doing 70, 75 are now slowing down to about 65, 66, and that's a huge difference in fuel in a week.
And I'll be honest with you, I know he's going to listen. I got a company driver that cannot go anywhere without going 75 miles an hour. And I see it because he spends the most fuel on our fleet week in, week out. And I'm not going to say we haven't made a profit on the truck, but this year, now it's bad. I mean, it's basically we're running the truck to pay his salary or to pay him.
Yeah.
And it's got to be addressed. And if you're a company driver out there and you don't pay attention to stuff like that, when you're spending $3,000 in fuel, everybody's looking at it and someone's going to say something.
Russ, I got a pay program I'll send you that we used to have for our drivers. It paid them on occupancy, no surprise, right? Each day that they occupied without interruption. It paid them extra money if they worked on the weekends because they'd be away from the family. It paid them on DOT, whether they had inspections or not, on safety inspections, a number of things. And it basically put them on a salary program. But, the lifters were fuel mileage. So you would get bonused off of your fuel mileage on the average of your truck. And, with Geotab and the cameras that we have, not cameras, but the electronics that we have, we can tell whether someone is over revving. We can tell someone whether there's hard braking and fast acceleration. But that might be food for thought. Not looking to change someone's plan up, but
yeah.
I mean, if I could just get that truck to slow down to, I mean, honestly, he's a company driver and we own the truck. So if I could get him to slow down to just 65, I would probably save $700 or $800 right now.
Do you have a limiter on the truck at all?
I don't, but that was one thing that Doty suggested to me. Have him come in and have our mechanic just plug in and he goes, plug in and put it at 68. And I go, if I plug into it, I don't put it at 62. He'll be rolling with the Swifties.
Or you can set it where you have cruise control one speed and pedal at another.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that would be that way. It's still advantageous for him on highway runs.
And he knows who he is, and he listens every week. And so does his wife. So don't think I'm getting on your case. But when I've called your wife because she's with you, and I've told her you got to yell at him when he's speeding, and she does. She really tries. He has a hard time with it. As far as occupancy and those other things, he's great. Yeah. And he's a great mechanic, and I can buy parts, and he can fix stuff. So there's a trade-off there for sure. But when it starts costing you $1,000 a week or $800 or $700 a week because you can't go in the 60s, you got to look at it. I mean, you do.
I'd also talk with his dispatcher, because some of that is how we plan our hours too. I'm not trying to play both sides of this, Russ, but
I'm his
even
dispatcher.
If you have, then let's have a talk here. What's the average miles per day he's running? I'll forego my report. We'll get to that next week. But
as many as he can get.
Well, I can tell you, no, not really. Sometimes he can run 660 miles a day, no problem. Right. If I have him something that's tight and he needs to turn and burn.
But you did say you were cutting the mileage back here recently,
I run him short. And not always, though. I mean, he did a dedicated last week going Wisconsin to Ohio, so he was burning up 600 miles a day plus.
Yeah.
So, and even a couple of them had, he got paid to go back empty. So that, was light. And, I mean, that should have been great. That's when I would have slowed down. I'd have been getting 9 miles to the gallon, but he bobtailed. I'd have been getting 9 in that truck.
Yeah.
how to
Don't
slow
you
it
love
down.
those guys that say, the faster I drive, the more fuel I save? I love those guys who just argue that
Yeah.
if you do 75 plus, they're actually saving fuel. It's like, wow.
I know.
Okay.
I've heard it a million times over the years.
I don't even
And
argue with them anymore.
I don't either. I don't have time for that. We don't have time for stupidity. No. No, I just wanted to bring it up, with the, I don't know how I got into that, but with Ray and just the example of, you can make money. And 8,300 isn't a great week. I mean, it's not a terrible week, but, I mean, we got guys that do more than that. But there is a trade-off, too, Christian, and I bet you'll agree with this. So you can run, you can do 10,000 in revenue and do 3,500 miles or max out your E-log. You're doing more miles. The price of fuel's high. You probably would make more take home doing 75 or 8 and running shorter miles.
Yes.
And I've been looking a lot at that lately, and I've been talking to in here and our dispatchers and stuff. I've been talking to drivers about it. Let's circle the wagon shorter. Because if I can get $5 a mile, and I did it over the weekend on Dala, it's not a huge load, but it was 200 miles. I got $1,000 on a Sunday, and I wasn't getting. Austin, I pounded the phones all day. He had a load fall through, and we finally got it.
Yeah.
But I was telling him I'd kind of rather run 200 miles for $5 a mile. I'm only, you might not be able to do more than one a day because by the time you load and unload, and it might be in the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how much did I spend, how much did I spend in fuel for the week? 1,200 versus 3,000?
Yep.
Or, and so I might still take home, I worked less, and I might still take home probably around the same money I would if I ran a lot harder because I put more in fuel. There is a balance there.
Well, but the other part that weighs your part of this even stronger right now is not just fuel costs, but you look at repair costs, right? The more miles you're putting on the vehicle, right? You're wearing both the driver and the truck down further, right? And not only that, but then your logs and how you end up making up for your logs. You run 3,000 miles, you take any day off or came out other than a Friday, right? Where you end up having to take your 34 on a weekend. You're not running those miles the second week. So you're just running to run short the next week. So you're going to lose your gains. But not only that, but with the shortages, and I know the Mike's TikTok about the oil shortages and everything else, like now you're that much closer to your next service. You're wearing that much more off your tires and your brakes, and you're putting your truck, if you're running that many miles, you're not doing it at 50 to 65. You're doing that from 68 to 72 miles an hour the entire time. So there's a lot of wear and tear and additional expenses that are going to come a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And if the Titanic knew the iceberg was coming, they would have turned. And so I think the one thing about running slower and smaller miles is that you can have the foresight and budget your expenses accordingly.
There is some wins to that, like you said. Maintenance costs, wear and tear, and then obviously the amount of fuel that you're going to spend is quite a bit less when you're running half the miles. So it's half. Yeah.
And your long mileage run, you were still 16 cents above the average for June for DAT. It's 270 mile loaded miles. You did all miles at 286. So so even just pulling freight off the board.
And I could have, you and I know, Christian, I mean, I probably could have squeezed,
turned it up to 320.
I probably could have got him over or close to 9 or something like that. On that week. But I wanted to be a little fair in my exercise here, and I just took the rate that was posted in the areas that I sent him. So let's play that. Let's get into questions with Kumar. But before we do, you want to play Mike's TikTok?
Yes, sir.
And let's, just see what you guys think about this.
What's up, mother truckers? It's happening. It's happening to me right now. One of my fuel stops that I go to when I come out here to Colorado every week, no diesel. So I went to the next truck stop, got fuel. All right, problem solved. Get out to Denver, deliver my load. I think, I'm going to get my truck serviced. It's right at 40,000 miles. They say do it at 50, but I do it a little early. Go to Bennett. They don't have any oil there. I'm like, all right, Burlington's on my way. I'll stop at Burlington, rest there tonight, get my oil changed, and go on about my way. Well, I'm sitting here in Burlington, Colorado at the Love's. And guess what? They ain't got no oil. They can't do my oil change here either. How far does this have to go before Americans wake up and realize what's happening? Our country is dying, y'all. What are we going to do?
There you go.
Yeah.
So I know we went a little. I probably went a little long, but we're gonna Kumar, Joel. We're gonna push the questions till next week because we're bumping up to the hour and a half that we like to kind of target. But what did you guys think of that? What do you think, Jim Mackey?
Not wrong.
Is he wrong?
I mean,
Ray?
I can tell you the brand of oil that I use on my trucks is Rotella, the T6 oil, the blue bottle,
Yeah.
the full synthetic, and that's hard to find. And I don't know if you saw a picture the other day I posted on, I don't know if I posted on our prayer group or not, but I went to Walmart and they had about 20 gallons on the shelf, and I bought them all out because I haven't seen
stocked it up.
I bought everything they had.
I was gonna say,
How much ruined somebody's day who needed an oil change?
How much toilet paper did you have?
Yeah, and I had a basket full of oil, and I walked up to the counter in automotive, and the guy looked at me like, "Dude, I just stocked that." I go, "Yeah, sorry."
So what are you going to do
Sorry,
with
I
all
need
that
it.
toilet paper and oil?
I just stocked
Yeah,
that.
so I bought all the Rotella T6 that they had on the shelf, and
all the
they
Angel
haven't had it for months.
A buddy of mine sent me a TikTok this last week, toward the beginning of, I want to say it was Sunday or Monday, talking about how, there's going to be an oil shortage. And if you're smart, especially if you're driving a truck, invest in oil, buy a couple of barrels of oil to try and get you through, stuff like that. So,
Or put a filtration system on like
Ray has.
Ray does, and just go
So-
3 times a month.
Have you guys
Yeah.
run into any truck stops that didn't have diesel?
No, not yet.
No.
Okay.
the only truck stop that technically, I guess they did have diesel, they just were out of power. So
Wow. Different. Different problem.
Hey, Russell,
Was that a Celadon truck stop?
no,
What's that,
it was
Ray?
it was the pilot right outside of Shelbyville.
That's
I was gonna say, Russell, I sent you and Kumar a picture. If
I
you,
just
if
saw
you want,
it.
you
Ray,
can, you can share that. Yeah, you can share that on the show.
Ray,
And
Ray
that
just
was one basket.
sent the one cart full of oil picture to us. Can you throw that on there? Or is that, yeah. What happened to Mackie?
I'm back now.
Oh, okay. Did you see that TikTok that we showed, Mackie?
No, I was going through the Spanish Fork, Utah mountains. And I
Well,
lost
my
service for a while.
question would be to you, Jim. Have you been to any truck stops that where you couldn't get oil or diesel?
I've not had any problems with that. I have had a problem. I don't buy my oil that I need. If I do, from the truck stops because the price is outrageous. But I've had a problem finding Rotella.
Well, Ray, see this picture. This is one cart. They stocked the shelf, Jim, and Ray had 2 carts and got it and took it home, stockpiled.
Paid
Like
cash.
16.
That's funny.
Well, I try to carry at least 2 gallons with me just because.
Well,
And I haven't been able to find it.
Well,
I
Ray
think
has
at
it.
Walmart.
Ray has it.
Hey,
You got to
do
stop
what you
running.
gotta do.
Stop running the same lane as Ray. If he's ahead of you, you're not going to find it.
Yeah. And those guys that stole fuel in the news earlier, just take Ray's truck.
No wonder he can't scale 40,000. He's got oil.
Hey, but
1,000 pounds of
I
oil.
will say this: for,
You're sleeping
for
on the
you guys
floor.
there's a lot of guys who don't know, but look at that T6 oil, that Rotella T6 at the Loves or Petro, wherever you go to.
Yeah.
That price is nearly $40 a gallon or 35 somewhere. It depends where you go. At Walmart, it's only $23 a gallon.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's good information. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I use the T5, and it's like 15 or 16 at Walmart, and you go to the truck stops, and it's like $20 or
After Ray left, the
$23.
price went up.
Yeah.
Demand, supply and demand.
Supply and demand. I'm making the prices go up.
Yeah. Well, guys, listen, it's been fun, and we are going to kick down the road till next week. Questions with Kumar. Like I said, we got a little long here, but it was fun. It was a good conversation. If anyone, Kumar, I can give you my notes on this example of what the driver would have made, and you can put it on the Facebook if you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
What Ray would have made, or what Ray made on this week, what a full service lease, or what somebody that had a $500, $2,000 a month truck payment would have made. On probably an average week. So, with that, Christian, you got anything else?
Just the on this day news. On this day, we had a kick butt podcast. So that was today. That was a good podcast. I enjoyed it.
That's nice.
Enjoyed
I
the feedback and the news from our listener too.
I enjoyed it too.
Arkansas became a state in 1836.
Arkansas became a state. Razorbacks. And then Kumar, you got anything?
Yeah, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, follow Talkin Truckin on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, MySpace, and send your fishing pictures.
Fishing pictures, yes.
Yeah, either DM them to like any of our social media or Deaton Trucking Podcast at gmail.com.
And you have to catch them.
Yeah, have to catch them. Okay. They have to be caught by you.
And go Buckeyes, go Browns, go Cavaliers, and go Guardians.
Go Braves.